Yeah, so what's the situation?
Well, we left Tromsø at midnight and it's about 50 miles to get out into the ocean. The problem is it's been blowing 30 to 40 knots for the past 4 days. Immediately following this little low pressure that's been blowing by, it's gonna get really, really calm right where we are. And we want to be on the other side of that calm when it gets calm so that we can keep sailing in some really good weather. So we left at midnight so that we could get out to the ocean early morning and hopefully ride the tail end of this stronger wind, knowing full well that it was going to have the potential to be 20 gusting into the 30s. But because it is Norway, you can add 10 to 15 knots to that, so it's 30 gusting into 40. So we've changed our plan a little bit, and we're not going to head as far west as we were hoping to, and instead we're going to kind of keep going northeast and more downwind in this, and hopefully in a few hours it will start to decrease, and then we can kind of make our turn and go a little more westerly. That's the current plan.
Crazy.
It's f***ing windy.
Dan is dropping the mainsail. We're just gonna keep running with the head sail. The wind is supposed to die down by the time we make it offshore, and we're trying to get ahead of a high pressure system, and we're trying to stay underneath a low pressure system. Watch out. So that's the situation right now. We are so heavily reefed right now. We just dropped the main, and this is intense. This is crazy. Yeah, it's blowing consistently to 35 knots, and from time to time it gusts into the 40s. We're still sort of protected by the mountains right now, so the waves aren't that big. But
yes,
we're gonna make. I mean, no, they're not.
They're short and choppy.
They're short and choppy. They're not huge waves.
They're worse than if we were offshore, I think.
You think so?
I think offshore they're not as bad. They'll be bigger, rollier swell, but it won't be so choppy.
Yeah, they're breaking against the hull more because they're so choppy. Intense though. I don't feel so good. Usually on the first day of a passage, I always feel a little bit uneasy. But then I know if I stay out in the cockpit, I can look out on the horizon and I'm fine. But today it just hit me. I got seasick. Probably for the first time actually in 7 years. Where I actually threw up. Yeah. But we are now further offshore and the wind definitely calmed down. It's not too bad. The swells are very consistent now. Well, somewhat consistent. Still very rocky, which is why I got sick. But I think the worst is over. Definitely not blowing 40 knots anymore. So it should get calmer and calmer throughout the rest of the day, and we should have a pretty sweet rest of the passage. So I'm gonna try to drink more water because I just gave to Neptune everything I had in my stomach. Anyway.
Alright, well, we are offshore, officially. Can't see Norway anymore. We've got the wings on the Dodger and the wind vanes in the water, and we haven't seen 30 knots in the last hour, settling down to the 17 to 22 or so, hovering around 20 I'd say. It's crazy to think we're this far north on our little boat.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah, I feel a bit bad. Kika's not feeling so good. It's been a rolly start to a long passage. The first day is always the hardest. Pretty much we're just taking turns sitting outside, listening to music and sleeping because there's not a whole lot else we can do right now. And until the wind sort of starts to fill in later tonight and tomorrow, we're kind of just bobbing around out here. Oh, it's so bright. It's very, very strange to be sailing into the sunset at 10 o'clock at night and sailing due north instead of west. It just feels weird. But the sun pretty much just goes circling around our heads all day. So right now we're sailing north in the sunset, and it's 2 fingers, maybe 3 fingers off the horizon, and it's about as low as it's gonna get. So we're gonna just skim the horizon and then start circling around behind us again. It's totally nuts. Well, and if you're curious, it is now midnight. That's the midnight sun. That's pretty cool.
Hey, feeling blueberry?
Better.
Sleep help?
Yeah, sleeping definitely helps. I need to eat something because I haven't eaten since we left. I'm hungry. But the problem is, like, every time I try to eat something, it just...
Do you want me to microwave you like a potato or something?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no.
Hey, come here. It's gonna be like this for the next 6 hours or so. And it's gonna like slowly go back down to like 15, but this is about it, being reached 20 knots. We're making good power at 74%.
I miss hanging out with you though.
I
It's
know.
6 hours each. We only hang out for like 10 minutes at a time.
What would you
Double
like?
it up. I'm a blueberry.
Do you want me to make you a potato?
This is fun. What if I zip myself all the way up for like...
Can you? Can you feel this?
No.
What about now?
No.
What about now?
No.
Really? I think you're lying to me.
I am lying to you. I didn't feel all of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now we have my abuse caught on camera. What happens when we fight?
No! Hopefully it stays in my belly.
Hopefully it does. But again, if it doesn't, it'll come up smooth, you know? It's gonna basically be this exact same weather, and then like this 3 a.m. it's gonna start to get lighter again. A little bit closer reaching into it. Sunday is gonna be lighter. Might have a little bit more, 15 to 20 Monday afternoon. Cool. Well, I think I'll leave you to it, and I'll go get some more sleep.
Alrighty.
Bye. I'd kiss you, but there's a camera in the way. How's your potato sitting?
Well, it's only been like a minute, so
Well, you'd know
give
if
it
it
another
wasn't
minute.
sitting well. Alright.
Alright. Ah, it's hard to keep this camera steady. We are averaging about 7 knots right now, and holy shit, I just saw 8.5 knots. But we are making power. We are regenerating actually about 500 watts right now, and it goes up and down depending on if we're surfing down a wave or if we're rounding up and slowing down. But this is actually the first time that we gain a percentage with regen. Like, this never happened with the sail drive. So it's pretty good. So far we're pretty satisfied with the new servo prop, but it is blowing 20 knots right now, gusting to 25. Probably should put a reef in the head sail, but we're going so fast. knots. Wow. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I do feel a lot better. I think it's always the first day. I always feel weird the first day, but yeah, this is the first time I actually got sick on the first day, but I guess all I needed was a little bit of extra sleep and then finally was able to eat. Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll in some head sail. Surprisingly, we didn't even lose any speed. We're still going 7 knots, but we are definitely more controlled right now. The autopilot is keeping up and not rounding up every 5 minutes, so yeah. Well, it is midnight, and I guess the midnight sun is somewhere out there.
That's not yesterday.
No, it's funny because like an hour ago there was no clouds and it was beautiful and the sun was out. I was so excited to see the midnight sun because last night I was asleep when Dan was watching the midnight sun, and tonight I decided to stay awake. So we had coffee, but then it's like the clouds just rolled in so quickly, and yeah, it's just overcast, so the midnight sun is hiding somewhere. But it is midnight and it is clear. So what do you think of the midnight sun, the lack of the midnight sun?
I think it's very weird to not have night watch anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's very weird to sail into the sunset at midnight.
Well,
sailing north into the sunset. I think it's very weird that we've been sailing the exact same direction for 36 hours, and like at midnight the sun's on the bow, and then in the morning it's, you know, 90 degrees, and then
noon is like
it's
behind
noon,
us.
it's behind us, and then the sun's over there. Like, it's weird to just not really, it's hard to stay oriented, because normally like in the tropics it's like, oh, it's sunrise, yeah, okay, well the sun's on our right, so we're going north, and then at noon it's above you, and then it sets in the west. But
it's never above you here.
no, it's never above you.
It's
It just goes around in circles. It's
kind of cool.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's I'm glad that I can sleep when it's bright outside. Have you been able to sleep? Yes,
sort of.
Sort of.
It's so the difference between sailing now and sailing in normal times when there is darkness is that normally I am completely fine staying awake on watch all day, and then as soon as the sun sets I usually get tired really quick, so which is why we started doing the 6 hour on and 6 hour off watch, so that I get my full 6 hours of sleep, and then I wake up early in the morning when the sun rises, and then we switch and I can stay up all day, right? But here it just feels like a long, giant, never-ending day. So after 6 hours of, you know, then falling asleep, he wakes up and technically it's time for me to switch, but it's still daylight, so I don't feel tired. I've been sleeping a lot lately because I felt seasick, but now I feel like I have to sleep just because I know I'll eventually be tired, so I don't know. But anyway, we're almost halfway, so this is exciting. I think tomorrow,
I think in the next like 5-6 hours we'll be halfway.
We'll be officially halfway.
Seen a bunch of puffins and a bunch of like seagulls or ospreys
And
or big
dolphins.
birds.
Bunch
And
of
a
dolphins.
couple of dolphins have showed
Yeah.
up from time to time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much our life out here. It's sleep for 6 hours.
Awake for
sit
6
here
hours.
and listen to music for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Sleep for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Eat a
And
bag of
repeat.
peanuts. Yeah.
Whew.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty much
Oh, and then have an ab workout along the way because
It
that's
is
kind of
exhausting.
what that's kind of what sailing is.
it is exhausting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll set the hammock up.
Oh gosh, I don't know about that.
All right.
So
Are you gonna end up in bed before?
I don't know. I just had coffee.
I mean, you're gonna be awake.
No, I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.